Hello everyone, today I'll be doing a solo Grandmaster run, the Devil's Lair with Titan. For my subclass, I'll be using Thunder Crash. Here are the mods and fragments I'll be using in this video. For my kinetic, I'll be using Lunulata Stasis Bow. Next, I'll be using the famous Cloudstrike. Unfortunately, this exotic doesn't have a catalyst yet. Next, I'll be using Taipan Linear Fusion Rifle. For my helmet, I'll be using 5 Resilience, Linear Fusion Ammo Finder, Ashes to Assets with the Explosive Wellmaker. For my gauntlets, I'll be using 5 Resilience, Overload Bow, Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle with Beautiful Wells, or Bountiful Wells. For my exotic, I'll be using Heart of Emote's Light. I'll be using 10 Resilience with Double Arc and Solar Resilience and Seeking Wells. Next, I'll be using 10 Resilience, Linear Fusion Rifle Scavenger with the Elemental mod to make wells. Last, I'll be using 5 Disciplined with Utility Kickstart, Sundering Glare with the Artifact mod to stagger Overload Champions. Alright, so I'm gonna spare my way to the entrance, and yes, I did push off the Arc Captain once again. I did it on my Warlock, and I'm gonna do it on a Titan. So it's a fun experience. You can skip the Overload Champion and still get Platinum. And yes, I did get stuck on the Sparrow, so my bad for that. So yeah, I'm gonna be using different loadouts. You know, people have been complaining of me using the Stasis Scout Rifle, shoot to loot. So instead, I'll just use a Stasis Bow with shoot to loot. But hey, it has headstone, which makes it more interesting for this video, right? So let's talk about the exotic Cloudstrike. So I'll tell you the good things about it and the bad things about it. Let's start the bad things. So if you guys notice, there's some bug going on with the high barrier champions where the sniper, the Cloudstrike, can't really do precision shots with Hive barrier champions. Yeah, that's the bad news. So I was watching my old videos, by the way, just to double check. And I wrote some tiny notes. There was no bugs of doing precision shots on high barrier champions. Usually when you are sniping the barrier champions, it usually takes one shot. One sniper shot. Now, if you are using Cloudstrike on high barriers, it only takes about 3 shots, and mainly that's 3 body shots. If you don't shoot precision shots. Just like what happened to Eriana's Vow last season, now it's happening with Cloudstrike. So yes, I am spawn killing the thralls, and I did took down the Overload Champion. So yeah, make sure you take down all these fallen adds, and then we're going to deal with another barrier champion, which I'm going to have trouble because it's bugged out. Now here's another weird thing that I like to talk about. And yes, I'm going to use my super and then use my finisher if it is not defeated. Now, when you are consistently using precision shots, you'll have the Cloudstrike Storm. Now, sometimes you can one-shot the barrier champion when the Cloudstrike is activated. Sometimes. And then there's times where the barrier champion is twirling to the left or right, and then the Cloudstrike doesn't do anything. And it's just a little bit irritating for this run, to be honest, especially dealing with the high barrier champions only so far. I haven't tested out all the barrier champions. But yes, I am going to clear down all the wizards first. Make sure you take down the snipers before dealing with the Hive snipers. Well, before dealing with the fallen snipers or the vandals. So yeah, I am going to be trying my best to spam a lot of Cloudstrike. There's some weird things going on with Cloudstrike. Maybe the hotfix for today is going to fix it. I have no idea. Who knows what's going to happen. But even so, that is the bad news for this sniper. Now the good news about the Cloudstrike is you can one-shot the Servitor Bear champions. That's the good news. So the only bug I see so far, haven't tested out fully all the champions, is the High Bear champions. They're just a bit bugged so far. So now I am going to be defending the ghost. There'll be 3 waves of ads, so make sure you just spam the storm grenades. And the storm grenades are actually stronger than a warlock. Yes, not even joking. They're actually much more stronger than the warlock. Now I could have another build, which maybe I'll try it next time, where I can use the firepower build just to make my grenades charge more faster every time I throw one. Probably next time I'll do it. I mean, this is just a alternate build in case if Guardians don't really have firepower, and also if they don't have the elemental charge mod for their character and they're still waiting every week to get the new elemental mods and charge of light mods. So yeah, make sure you do as much precision shots as you can so you can have the Cloudstrike effect, which is why thus this sniper is called Cloudstrike. Now this sniper is actually one of my favorite weapons to use. But as I said, there are pros and cons of using this weapon for this season. Now the one thing that bothers me a bit is you can't really one-shot red ads with precision shots with this weapon. This is Art Q, so you do 25 more damage with any arc weapon or arc abilities. So I was a bit baffled and surprised because when I was watching my old video from last year, there was no such thing as arc acute, and the Cloudstrike was actually able to one-shot some of the red ads. Just one-shot sniper. I'll talk about more the DPS of the Cloudstrike, but first things first, make sure you clear down all the ads. Just spam enhanced storm grenades. Use your dodge as much as you can. The only reason why I'm using the dodge is because it has a faster, cooler time. Now just like the warlock video, make sure you take down at least one of the wizards. Once you do that, then you'll be able to spawn the high barrier champion. But be aware with the Cloudstrike, you can't really one-shot the high barrier with Cloudstrike unless you consistently precision shot with the Cloudstrike effect. But then sometimes it doesn't work, just to let everyone know. So now I'm going to try my best to do precision shots even though it's not working for some reason. And then you can just pull back because I messed up my DPS. My bad for that. Things happen. See, the one mistake over there is I didn't do enough DPS with Cloudstrike. And if I was able to do precision shots, you know, if it wasn't bugged, you know, this wouldn't happen. So yeah, see over there. See, sometimes when using Cloudstrike, if you're doing consistent precision shots with the Cloudstrike effect, then it does work. It does one-shot the shield because of the lightning. But then if you're just using Cloudstrike on its own, you're trying to precision shot to make the Cloudstrike effect, you can only do up to 3 body shots. So see, this is something that really bothers me of using Cloudstrike for now. But you know what? I'm gonna be positive and hopefully maybe they'll fix it. They'll probably fix it. And another thing that really bothers me is that I was testing out with a legendary sniper and I was able to one-shot the high barriers. with no problem in this Nightfall versus Cloudstrike. And just to remind everyone, I was using a kinetic sniper since it has no arc, so it one-shot the high barrier champions versus a Cloudstrike with art acute. It can't even precision shot it when it pops his shield. As I said before, last year it was working perfectly. I was in love with Cloudstrike. And now for this season, like, what happened to my beautiful Cloudstrike? They really mess up this weapon, especially for the high barrier champions. If you are thinking of using Cloudstrike for Disgrace, I don't think it would be a good idea unless they fix the bug. So yeah, things are not going so well, and like I said, reason why was Cloudstrike wasn't doing one-shot precision on the barrier champions when they popped the shield. It's just absolutely ridiculous. So because that barrier champion is up ahead, plan B is just to resume and clear the ads, take down the overload champions. The best thing you can do is not panic. If you panic, then all these fallen ads will spam their arc seekers and they will take you back to orbit. So if things are not going your way, which it happened in this video, just go with the flow. Just clear down the overload champions and then deal with the barrier champion last. So yeah, and the good news is that I did have a lot of heavy bricks, so it was no problem of me not taking down the high barrier champion. So as I said before, if this happens to you, just focus on the fallen overload champions, focus on the fallen ads that are pushing towards your safe zone spot. Then just let the snipers do DPS with the barrier champion. So now we're going to see him twirl around. Hopefully he'll twirl again. So you see proof that Cloudstrike cannot do precision shots with the high barrier champion for this season, by the way. And because of that, it messes up pretty much the point of using Cloudstrike, of having the thunder high DPS Cloudstrike, lightning cloud above them. It really ruins the fun, and this is one of the reasons of why trying to do creative loadouts sometimes work out, and it doesn't work out. And also another reason is sometimes it just, you know, when trying to do creative loadouts, it's really hard to do it. You know, because it takes time to make it work. And then for me, of not able to do precision shots with Cloudstrike on high barriers, it can be a problem when trying to speed things up, you know, and to really show off this exotic. Thanks to Traveling the Speaker, there's not going to be a lot of high barrier champions, mainly the fallen, so make sure you throw your storm grenades. And then just abuse shoot to loot stasis bow. And then abuse headstone. So yeah, this bow actually has headstone. I thought it would be a fun idea to use it because you can freeze enemies. When you do precision shots, you can actually turn the precision shots into headstone, basically stasis crystals, and then break it, which can do pretty much decent amount of damage. So once everything is good to go, you probably wonder what I'm doing here. I'm just waiting for my storm grenades to fully charge up. That's why you see that I'm just standing, and now we get to go to the most boring area ever. But with the Titan, it's pretty much not as bad as it is for a Warlock. I am using Sunnerly Glare artifact mod since I am using a sniper, But even using this artifact mod, it isn't really that great. I mean, it isn't like the best DPS with Cloudstrike compared to a linear fusion rifle. But I would say it's just decent enough. Not the best, not the worst. Now the one thing you have to be aware is that there's going to be a lot of these Arcseeker Fallens, and you can actually just one-shot the barrier champions if it is precision shots, which is the good news about using Cloudstrike. It's just the high barriers is the problem. I was trying to see if I can stagger the barrier champions so I can clear all these Arcseeker Fallen ads, because they're pretty much messing up my DPS. So that's the reason why I wasn't really so much of trying to clear down these ads, but at the same time I was just losing my patience. And yeah, this is pretty much of what not to do. So I pretty much dodged. How many snipers did I dodge there? I think I dodged like 3 or 4 snipers. And that's basically me being very impatient, so be very careful at this part, especially on Titan. If you're planning to use Thunder Crash, make sure you use your finisher, or you could just back away and then just use your sniper. But just be very careful with snipers at the back side, because they're the ones can send you back to orbit. Now I am using this bow just to check where the snipers are, because it can highlight them, which is really nice because the stasis scout can also do the same thing, and this bow as well, so I was really happy. So far so good. Everything is going perfect. It just feels really great when you break the stasis crystals. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I'm pretty sure there will be a lot of guardians. They agree that doing precision shots and having the headstone and then breaking it is just so fun. So now what I need to do is take down these snipers, and yes, it's gonna take a while, so I am gonna show just little glimpse of what it can do. They do move, so just be aware that these snipers from far distance, they do love to move around. Now I was just trying to bait this Overlord champion, but then he quickly walked to the left side. So now I have to wait until this Overlord champion can appear again. So at the same time I was just using Cloudstrike. And the Overlord champion is being stubborn as ever. And he did it again. He was just looking and then backing away. Now he's slowly walking toward the spot where I want him to be. So now you could just consistently do precision shots, throw your storm grenades, and then just switch to your heavy. For me, I prefer just to take down the snipers, so I am gonna do a mini time skip for this. Once I spam Cloudstrike on the elite snipers, now I can spawn the 2 Brigs. Now the one thing I really love about the Titan is you can get your grenade bag a lot, especially with the exotic emotes of light. Unfortunately, I have a bad feeling they're gonna be nerfing it, because I'm seeing a lot of people, elite top players, they want it to be nerfed. It's a possibility they're going to be nerfing the exotic for the Titan, and it's a possibility they're going to be nerfing the resilience, pretty much for GMs. Make sure you throw grenades and then pull back. I'm going to do a mini time skip for this one. What you can do over here is you could just throw your grenades. You're probably wondering why I wasn't inside the building. Well, the thing is this, the walker can actually one-shot you, and if you just stand still in the building, it can use its arc attack or the solar attack, and it could be a nightmare. So just be very, very careful with the walker if you're going inside a tiny building. I mean, it is a good area to do high DPS and make the run more faster, but at the same time, you have to be very careful and then just really watch out of what the walker is doing. So I'm going to be spamming my grenades over here, so I'm going to do a mini time skip. Once I spam the very most powerful enhanced storm grenades, now I'm going to be dealing with the walker. Now we have Suddenly Glare, so I am going to be just using the linear, and also the reason why is because I don't have Cloudstrike. Now you're probably wondering, is Cloudstrike stronger than the linear fusion when doing DPS of the walker? The answer is no. Actually, the Cloudstrike isn't that strong when doing DPS on the walker. The linear fusion is actually more stronger, and I do advise you just to use the linear. Use the linear first, by the way. I wouldn't really bother myself using Cloudstrike from far distance. It doesn't really do as much damage as I want it to be. And yeah, that is very odd. You saw on the last second shot, it said I did precision shots, but it said I had 1,300 DPS damage. Very bizarre, by the way. I guess I missed my shots, I'm assuming, but then again, it said I did precision shots, so you know what? No one's perfect. So now what we're going to do over here is deal with the Overload champion. So I dealt with one Overload, and then there's one up ahead, which you can just use storm grenades. And then now there'll be a lot of snipers from up ahead. So mainly over here, I was just trying to get some ammo. So if you're wondering why I was shooting the ground, I was trying to get some sniper ammo, special ammo to deal with the snipers from far distance. And also I was using the sniper to see if there's any special ammo. So that's another tip, by the way. So if you can't see anything, and if you're using like a very small TV, you can just use Cloudstrike to see if there's any ammo on the ground if you have shoot to loot, bow. Now over here, I was just trying to clear down the invisible fallen ads before I proceed to the opposite direction. And it's really fun to have headstone on the stasis bow. Okay, so once everything is good to go, once I clear down these invisible ads right up ahead, now it's safe, and then I could just go to the other direction. And the reason why I do this is because sometimes they sneak behind you, they sneak in front of you. They can mess up your DPS when you're dealing with the bigger champion. That's just me, everyone's different. You can also make them walk up to this specific spot where I'm standing, but sometimes you get too distracted of you wanting to do DPS with the bigger champions, or sometimes the sniper tries to one-shot you, and then you go behind covers, and then this invisible fallen two-shots you. So you just have to be very, very careful. And this is one of the reasons why I prefer to take down the elite vandal snipers, because things like this can happen. So for this footage, I didn't really take down all the snipers, but this is just an example of why I prefer to clear all of them down first and then proceed to deal with the barrier champions and the overload as well. Everyone's playstyle, by the way. Everyone's different. I'm not a speedrunner, let me tell you that. So there is this Arc Captain, so make sure you do precision shots so you can get the Storm Cloudstrike effect. But yeah, make sure you take down the Overload champion from up ahead as well, and then now we can actually proceed to the boss fight. It's so nice when a Guardian Troll can't say anything about Cloudstrike because I show proof. Can't really do precision shots on high barriers. Actually, Blitz, if you do consistent precision shots with the Cloudstrike Storm, you can one-shot the barrier champions. You had to waste so much ammo just to one-shot the barrier champion, so it doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you rather just use a linear and then one-shot the high barrier shield? Wouldn't that be a better efficient option? So I'm gonna go quickly move inside the building so I can do DPS on the two champions. I usually just take down the first one right away. But just be aware there is a lot of Fallens that will throw grenades at you. Now remember that you could actually destroy the Fallen grenades, so you can use your bow to shoot the grenades if they are next to you. Just to let everyone know if you're curious if you can take down the grenades. Alright, so now I'm gonna try my best to take down the last champion. And this Overload champion really likes to shoot these Arc Seekers. And they melt pretty bad. So remember to just use your Storm Grenade so you can tame this Overload champion. And then we're gonna start the boss fight very soon. Alright, so once we take down the Overload champion, I decided to use my super for this one. Might as well take a risk because it'll be really hard to use my super on the last two phases. So I used my super, then I ran back, used a dodge just in case the servitor tries to shoot void at me. Then I went back to the building. And then I want to look for the Arc Captain that likes to lurk around inside the building, which I knew he was going to follow me. I had a feeling, by the way, so it ain't gonna happen this time. The Arc Captain really thinks he's so smart. I'm just gonna go up the stairs and then two-shot. She won't notice a thing. You must take down the Arc Captain before doing DPS on the servitors, baby servitors, mini servitors, and pretty much anything. So once I clear down the Arc Captain, everything is good to go. Now you can just deal with these adorable, lovable servitors that have void shields, by the way. It's one of the reasons why I prefer to use a heavy weapon that has void, linear fusion rifle. Or any void weapon, but I would prefer linear. So now I'm gonna do as much precision shots as I can. And it's doing, I would say, a decent amount of damage with the Cloudstrike. So once I do a decent amount of damage, now we can deal with these servitors. So I am gonna be trying my best to use as much sniper as I can, since I am low on heavy. So if you are low on heavy, just use your sniper. Use all your sniper ammo as much as you can. And always remember to have Sunnerly Glare on your Titan build, or in your Warlock build, or in your Hunter build. It just makes it better for Cloudstrike so you can do more damage. Well, a little more damage. So I broke the shield and it's around 10k. 10k for far distance or mid distance of doing DPS for the Cloudstrike. Too bad. And as I said before, Cloudstrike, not the best, not the worst. Just does a decent amount of damage. So when you do take down these servitors, just remember to use your sniper, because if you do see a lot of special ammo on the floor, then just use it. Don't be afraid of using Cloudstrike, but as I said before, if you don't like Cloudstrike, you hate it, then I recommend using Trinity Gold instead of Cloudstrike if you don't like the sniper and you prefer something else. Just want to let everyone know, like, if you don't like Cloudstrike, it's okay. I mean, I totally understand if you don't like the fact that it's not working on high barrier champions. I understand completely. Anyway, we're going to take down the last baby adorable servitor. I haven't seen any of these servitors falling down like in my previous videos, so that's the good news. So far so good. And this is one of the reasons shoot to loot is just, it's just amazing. You know, always try your best to have shoot to loot on your stasis bow, and if you do have headstone, even better. So I am gonna do as much damage as I can, and it looked like he was falling down. Isn't that perfect? You know, I complained about the baby servitor doing that, now the boss is doing that. So during this phase is when you do need to do high DPS at the boss. Now the boss seems to have a time limit of him floating around, and I kind of mess up over here. What I should have done is I should have quickly go to the basement floor and then do DPS. I noticed I didn't see the boss, and I should have just go to the basement floor, do DPS, and then he was going to teleport on the top floor. So this was my mistake over here, so my bad for that, by the way. I noticed the boss is going to be teleporting around this area, so I was waiting for him to teleport. And then this is when I tried my best to use Cloudstrike. So far so good. It does around 10k damage, 6k damage. So yeah, the boss can sometimes be in the front of the window. I did warn you guys that sometimes this boss can be near the window, so I did try to be a little far distance away from him. And yes, I could have used my linear fusion to do more and faster DPS, but as I said before, I am using Cloudstrike, so I do want to show off of Cloudstrike more than the Taipon linear fusion rifle. So I do apologize that this run is slow, but at the same time, I did say that I was going to use Cloudstrike, so I do want to use as much as I can. Still, we haven't done enough DPS at the boss. And it is a bit shocking. I mean, I know you guys are probably going to comment and say why Cloudstrike didn't do high damage with Arca Q and you had Southerly Glare. Well, I'm not really sure what to say about that. You know, I try to make it work. So once again, I try to do as much DPS as I can. Looks like the lightning Cloudstrike is actually doing a decent amount of damage. So I was trying to see if I do need to do a little bit more damage. And it looks like I do. So I have to once again go in the basement and then do more DPS. So I saw the boss and I wanted to do more precision shots with Cloudstrike. Usually you do as much damage as you can until the champion appears, and then this is when you will see baby servitors. Now I was trying to be very cautious because I did not want the overload champion to sneak up behind me like it did in my warlock. So I definitely was being super aware of my surroundings, and I was pretty much shocked that the Overload Champion didn't sneak up on me, which was pretty hilarious. Like for the Titan it didn't do it, but on my Warlock it did. So now I'm going to be dealing with the Overload Champion that is inside this little tunnel. So what you can do over here is you can actually just spam your storm grenades. So I am spamming it as much as I can. And yes, I could have used my linear fusion rifle. I think I forgot I had it. And then realized, oh okay, I do have a couple. Because I wanted to save it because I can break the baby Servitor's shield. So it'll be easier for me to do DPS. That's pretty much the reason why I didn't really use my heavy a lot. Now we're going to deal with one more Overload Champion, and then we can finally just be on our way to complete this Grandmaster. So I was pretty much happy that the Overload Champion was there, but then he teleported, so... I did back away, by the way, so... Basically, what you have to do over here is just consistently do DPS. Make sure you take down the baby Servitors. So now we see the champion going up to the stairs. Great, this is perfect. Alright, so once I waited patiently for this Overload Champion, I finally caught the Overload Champion. Yay! Isn't it great? Now you can just spam storm grenades, do as much DPS as you can. And I did use my super, and then I defeated it. See, good things happen when you use your super on your Titan, right? I tried to do that on Warlock, he has reach, and then it regained its health. But for the Titan, it just annihilates the Overload Champions. Alright, so once we take down the last baby Servitor, then we can do high DPS. A lot of the Shanks did spawn, so you could just spam your storm grenades. And then you could just clear the last baby Servitor, and then you could just punch all these Shanks with your Titan as well. Alright, so I'm gonna do as much Cloudstrike as I can. You know, I'll try to use Cloudstrike. So you're probably thinking, oh my god, what's going on? Yeah, I'm trying to do Cloudstrike, trying to do more DPS with Cloudstrike as much as I can. And then we got all these fallen ads shooting arc seekers at me. That's the reason why I went upstairs, so I can at least do some precision shots. And then I backed away a bit because some of the ads were shooting me. So I did use my linear just to do a boost up of DPS. Now I can complete this Grandmaster. And finally I used Cloudstrike. So overall, Cloudstrike is not the best DPS, not the worst DPS. I would say it's just decent. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!